The Queen Mary is one of the most famous ocean liners in history, known for its luxurious voyages, wartime service, tragic incidents, and enduring reputation as one of the most haunted places in the world. The story of the Queen Mary begins in the early 20th century when the Cunard Line sought to build the fastest and most luxurious ocean liner to compete with other transatlantic ships. Construction on the Queen Mary began in 1930 at the John Brown and Company shipyard in Clydebank, Scotland, but due to the Great Depression, work on the ship was halted for a time. Eventually, with financial backing, construction resumed, and the Queen Mary was launched on September 26, 1934. After extensive outfitting and sea trials, the ship embarked on its maiden voyage on May 27, 1936, sailing from Southampton, England, to New York. It quickly gained a reputation for being one of the fastest ships on the Atlantic, often competing with the French liner Normandy for the coveted Blue Riband, an award for the fastest transatlantic crossing. During its golden years, the Queen Mary became synonymous with glamour and luxury, attracting some of the most famous celebrities, political figures, and royalty of the time. Hollywood stars such as Elizabeth Taylor, Clark Gable, Cary Grant, and Audrey Hepburn were frequent passengers. Winston Churchill used the ship to travel to the United States during World War II, and it was aboard the Queen Mary that he is said to have drafted parts of the Atlantic Charter, a pivotal document outlining post-war goals. Other notable figures, including the Duke and Duchess of Windsor, frequented the ship, making it a floating palace for the elite. Its lavish interiors, including grand ballrooms, extravagant dining halls, and opulent cabins, made it the preferred mode of travel for the wealthy and famous. However, despite its elegance, the Queen Mary was not without its share of misfortunes. When World War II broke out in 1939, the Queen Mary was requisitioned by the British government and converted into a troop ship. Stripped of its luxurious furnishings, painted gray for camouflage, and nicknamed the Gray Ghost, the ship played a crucial role in transporting Allied soldiers across the Atlantic. It set records for carrying up to 15,000 troops in a single voyage, making it one of the most important military vessels of the war. However, wartime service was not without tragedy. One of the most infamous incidents occurred on October 2, 1942, when the Queen Mary accidentally collided with the HMS Curacoa, a British light cruiser, off the coast of Ireland. Due to its immense size and speed, the Queen Mary sliced the smaller ship in half, leading to the deaths of more than 300 sailors. Ordered not to stop due to the threat of enemy submarines, the Queen Mary continued on, leaving the survivors of the Curacoa to fend for themselves until help arrived. This tragic incident remains one of the darkest moments in the ship's history, and is believed by many to have contributed to its later reputation for being haunted. After the war, the Queen Mary was restored to its former glory and resumed passenger service in 1947. The post-war years saw a resurgence in luxury travel, and the ship continued to be a favorite among celebrities and the wealthy. However, with the rise of commercial air travel in the 1950s and 1960s, ocean liners became less popular, and the Queen Mary, like many other grand ships of its era, struggled to remain profitable. By the 1960s, it was clear that its time as a transatlantic liner was coming to an end. In 1967, the Cunard Line announced that the Queen Mary would be retired and sold to the city of Long Beach, California. On December 9, 1967, the ship arrived at its final resting place, where it was transformed into a floating hotel, museum, and tourist attraction. While the Queen Mary remains a popular destination for visitors today, it is perhaps best known for its reputation as one of the most haunted locations in the world. Over the years, numerous reports of paranormal activity have made the ship a favorite site for ghost hunters and investigators. One of the most famous hauntings is associated with the engine room, where a young crew member named John Pedder was crushed to death by a watertight door in 1966. Many visitors and staff have reported seeing his ghost, often appearing as a shadowy figure or heard as unexplained knocking sounds. Another well-known haunting is in the first-class swimming pool, where people claim to have seen the apparitions of women in 1930s-style bathing suits. Disembodied voices, Wet footprints with no apparent source and eerie laughter have all been reported in this area, leading many to believe that spirits from the ship's glamorous past still linger. The ship's first-class lounge, now known as the Queen's Salon, is said to be haunted by the spirit of a woman in a white evening gown. She has been seen dancing alone in the dimly lit room or standing by the windows before mysteriously vanishing. Another chilling tale involves the Lady in Blue, an apparition that has been spotted near the grand staircase and in the corridors of the first-class suites. Some believe she was a passenger who tragically died aboard the ship, while others think she could be the spirit of one of the many women who worked on the ship during its service years. Another eerie location is Room B340, a cabin so haunted that it was closed off for decades. Guests who stayed in the room reported objects moving on their own, strange noises, and even waking up to find the covers pulled off their beds. The room was reopened in recent years as part of the ship's haunted attractions, allowing brave guests to spend the night in what is considered the most haunted room on board. One of the most chilling ghost stories associated with the Queen Mary is that of a little girl named Jackie, believed to have drowned in the second-class swimming pool, which has since been removed. Visitors and paranormal investigators claim to have heard her laughter echoing through the halls, and some have even captured her voice on audio recordings. Jackie is said to be a playful spirit, sometimes responding to questions or appearing in photographs taken in the pool area. Another commonly reported phenomenon is the sound of children crying or running in areas where no children are present, leading some to believe that multiple young spirits may still roam the ship. Crew members and guests have also reported unexplained cold spots, flickering lights, and sudden feelings of dread, particularly in areas that were once used as isolation wards or morgues during the ship's wartime service. Perhaps one of the most unsettling encounters reported by guests involves seeing shadowy figures darting through the halls or standing at the ends of corridors, only to disappear when approached. Some believe these are the spirits of soldiers who traveled aboard the Queen Mary during the war, forever bound to the ship. Others think they could be the restless souls of passengers who died on board, unable to find peace. The ship's long and eventful history, marked by both triumph and tragedy, has created the perfect setting for ghostly legends, making the Queen Mary one of the most famous haunted locations in the world. Whether visitors come for its rich maritime history, its luxurious past, or its reputation as a paranormal hotspot, the Queen Mary continues to captivate and intrigue, standing as a timeless reminder of the golden age of ocean travel and the mysteries that still linger within its walls.